Hello, 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 everybody. Greetings, friend. Timberlake here. Welcome to the live stream. For those of you who just joined, drop in the chat what country you're from. You know, I expect to see people from several different continents here. It'd be awesome to see where everybody is coming in from. I've already chatted with a few of you. Thanks for showing up a little early. I had my stuff set up, so I had a few minutes to talk to you. As some people noted, I was on a podcast this last week, the YouTube Creators Hub podcast. I'm in a mastermind group with Dusty Porter. I use that to help get better at making content. Awesome community there, and you can check it out. You can look at my community tab or just check out that podcast. Also, for the chat, be respectful. You guys have been awesome about that. I'll try solving the puzzles on my own. Obviously, I'll look for hints. If you want to give me some hints, that'd be great. And I got 3 great puzzles for you. And I'll do my best to respond to questions in the chat. I got an extra screen here, so I can kind of watch what you guys are doing. I see Jerry, Michigan, Canada, Brian. Welcome, Brian. Yoshi. Hey, Yoshi, how you doing? I should have picked one of your puzzles if I knew you were going to be here. Got Hungary. Mark, thank you so much. And Yippee. All right. Hey, Yippee. Thanks, SG. Glad to have you there. All right. I think I got all that. The puzzle links are in the description of the video. I think a few of you have tried a couple of these, which is awesome. If you want me to keep putting those ahead of time, that's cool. I don't mind. And the goal of the live stream today, the focus is going to be to run through how you can solve Sudoku systematically. And before I get to that, there's something else I want to share with you. I'm going to go a little off script. I'm going to share my big announcement right now, because I'm so excited about it. Let me flip here. Look at this. This is what I've been working on the last 2 months. SmartHobbies.com is live. The website is live and active. I wanted to give you some better content so you can follow and access Smart Hobbies content at your own leisure. I also want to improve communications and email support. So I got this backed up with Kajabi. It helps me create a website, send out emails, host courses, and the first course is live today. Some of you probably seen emails for it leading up to it. It's the Sudoku Masterclass. And so in that Masterclass, if you always said, hey, Timberlake, can you slow down and go through each of those 7 strategies? Can you give me some bonus content? Can you give me some solving and scanning tips? It's all right here. So if you've gotten the free guide, and you want to now apply those strategies and learn how to scan and solve a puzzle, this is for you. I've gotten some great feedback from my testers out there, some awesome Smartie Party members, and so I think you're going to absolutely love this. It is available for the whole week, and hopefully you'll get it before the end of Sunday. I plan to create more great courses to be on there. And then with the website too, you can learn a little bit more about me. You can see, YouTube, Instagram, Buy Me Coffee still running, what we do with AIM. I got some quotes here. You can click on and get your free solving guide. I updated that a little bit as well if you want to get on there. And then you can see what all I do with AIM and a little bit about me. You'll get to see a picture of me if you want. If you get the guide, you'll get added to my email list, like with Buy Me a Coffee. I'm in the transition period of moving things from Buy Me a Coffee over to smarthobbies.com. Hopefully with minimal interruptions. But again, it will give you more access, more content, and it's going to be more streamlined for you. Very excited about that. I was going to say that at the end, but I couldn't wait. I can't wait. Yeah, you guys are going to be so happy about this. All right, so let's go to puzzle 1. I know you want to do some solving. So this is round 8 of the 2025 Sudoku Grand Prix, puzzle 2. We're going to do this without marks. And so the idea of solving without marks, you're looking what I call it the scan and drill idea. And so you're going to use your muscle memory, short-term memory, and just solve things mainly naked and hidden singles. The puzzle link's in the description. And with that, it's solving time. So you kind of notice, you can tell this is handmade because of the way the marks are done. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Round 8 was done by Japan. Yesterday's puzzle, if you saw it on the channel, was a harder puzzle from that round. But you kind of notice there's a pattern here that they created, and then they made it a little easier. So some things to note, like this one cutting across the row, this one coming up the column, you have a pointing pair of 1s right here. So 1s are restricted right there. Can't make the solve with that just yet. But those are the things you want to kind of keep in the memory here. How about the 2s? I see 2 places for a 2 there, and then I'll do a quick scan to see if something else is limited where the 2s are, and they're not. The 3s, you can see you can make a solve here, right? With these 2 3s and this 3 in the row. Only place for a 3 in block 1 is right there. Now it restricts the 3s to these 2 cells. I'll keep that in mind. Anything else with the 3s? 2 3s there. And that's it with the 3s. And when I'm talking about scan and drill is if I get to a nice heavy house, you know, row, column, or block with a lot of candidates filled out, I'll probably drill down a little bit and see what else we can solve there. I don't see anything you can do with the 4s right now. We got a decent amount of 5s. 2 5s there. These 5s, now we can solve for a 5 right here. Nice. And then 5 restricted right there. Cool. All right. How about the 6s? Looks like you can solve for a 6 here in block 2. So with these 3 6s there. And now you're restricted to 6s, these 2 cells. And now with these 1s, remember that was a pointing pair of 1s. Well, you put a 3 there. That's got to be a 1 now. So you can add that in. And then look, as soon as you do that, you want to look down the columns and across the rows and see if there's more solves. And sure enough, with these 1s now and this one, only place for a 1 in block 7's right there. And then you can, move over to block 8 and notice with these 1s and this one, this is the essence of cross-hatching. You can solve that for a 1. And with this one, you can solve that for a 1. And so now you still have 2 places for a 1s in these 2 spots. So, this 3 was probably a pretty good solve for you to find. And you get rewarded right away with a lot of other easy solves. Didn't see anything. Well, I'll go back to the 5s. See if we knock down any more restrictions. Not really. All right, and then let's go on to the 6s. 2 6s here. 2 6s here. And that's it for the 6s. How about the 7s? Looks like we can make a solve for 7 block 3. Usually if you're seeing 3 into a cell, you got a good chance you'll be able to solve it. If you have 4, I think you all know this, if there's 4 of a digit looking into a cell, you have to be able, there's only going to be one place left to solve it. The 3 means, with a couple other digits added on, you're going to have a good chance you're going to solve that too. All right, anything else we can do with the 7s? Well, something interesting here. If you look right here, whoops, I got to get a new mouse. Where can a 7 go? And what I noticed is with this 7 cutting across, 7s are restricted to columns 4 and 6 here. And then with this 7, well, these 2 7s restricted to columns 4 and 6 here. So 7's got to be in column 5 and block 5. Since you have a 7 right there, this is actually a hidden single 7, right? And so if you start noticing those kind of patterns, you can find these hidden singles that are in a column. They're a little bit harder to spot, but it'll definitely improve and decrease your amount of time to solve if you can find those. Because now with these 7s, you can build off of that, right? Those 2 7s, move on down. With this 7, you can solve for 7 in block 7. And you still can't get those 2 7s, but we'll get back to that. But a lot of good solves by finding that. And now at the 8s, look in block 3. And hopefully your eyes are gravitating towards the heavier blocks, the ones that have more restriction, the ones you filled out cells already. Because you're just making a lot of new solves there. All right. I don't see anything else with the 8s. 2 places for an 8 right there. With this 8, you got a pointing pair of 8s here. So you know the 8s are restricted to row 7, block 7. So that means, you actually can make a solve. Since the 8s are going to be in one of these 2 cells, eliminates an 8 from there. You got this 8 here. And those 2 8s, so we can solve for an 8 in block 9. Okay, I'll go through the 9s. And again, part of the strategy, 1 is go through the digits 1 through 9, and then 2, go through them again if you made some solves. What I'm going to do, as I said, is more of the scan and drill, which works really well when you're solving without marks. You might notice with this 9 and this 9 here, you can solve for 9 in block 5. And then with these 2 9s, that 9, so 2 places for a 9 there. 2 places for a 9 here with this 9, so it's a pointing pair of 9s right here. Also to go with the 1. So what you might notice is you have a 1 9 here, and you got a 1 9 here. And so these 2 cells have to be a 1 9. They're a hidden pair. You don't have to mark it. You can just remember that's a hidden pair and immediately go, hey, what's got to be there? It's got to be a 5 and a 6. Well, with this 6, Solve that for a 6, solve that for a 5. And so I use the color to show, this is what you can keep track of, and you can make some more easy solves. And now we can follow that up. So kind of the scan and drill idea. Impact, row, column, and block. Go over and say, yep, I can put a 5 there. And then with these 5s and this 5, you can put a 5 right here. And I think we're getting close to having all the 5s. Yep, all these 5s means that has to be a 5 right there. And now, remember, the 1s were almost done. So look at these 1s. And remember, this is a 1 or a 9, right? So that's a 1, that's a 9. And so now you're kind of switching to, hey, what's candidates are almost filled out completely. All right, what you got left here in row 2? You got a 1, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, 9. Just need, looks like a 2 and a 7. So look, is there a 2 or a 7? Nope, that's a 2 or a 7. This has to be a 3 or a 4. And now with the 4, you can make these solves. 4, 3 here creates a nice full house. Solve that for a 2. Not a lot of 2s on the board right now, so those are probably not the digit I'm going to focus a lot of time on right this second. All right, but we got some interesting things going on here. You can look at heavy houses like this, 2, 3, and a 6 remaining in column 9. And with this 2, 3, that's got to be your 6. So 2, 3 there. Can't solve it just yet, but now you can look here and go 2, 3, 4. 4, that's a 2, 3, that's a 2, 4, and that's a 3, 4. Okay. 4s are a pointing pair. They're going to be restricted to these 2 cells right there. Got the full house. Should always just work on those because they're nice guaranteed solves. And now with these 8s and this 8, 8 right there. Now we got a good chance of doing a neat naked triple trick because I know I got to just put 2 8s right there. So what you have left up here is a 4, 8, 9, right? And sure enough, 8 and 9, column 3, 8 repeated, we can solve all 3 cells. That's got to be the 4. 8 can only go right there, and that's going to be your 9. Nice. And now I want to focus. You can see we're almost done with blocks 4 and 7. You're making new solves, so you know you're going to get some more restriction there. So that's got to be the 9. And now you just need, looks like, 4 and a 6. And if you remember right, because of this 4, that was a pointing pair of 4s. Hopefully you remember that. So that can't be a 4. Or you can see the 4 right there. Either way. That's your 4. That's going to be your 6. Nice. Okay, we got a full house. So you know you're going to be able to finish all 3 of these. Let's try the neat naked triple trick again. You got a 1, 3, 5, 7, 8, 9, 2, 4, and a 6. So just look for the 4 and a 6, 4 repeated. That's got to be the 2. 4's got to go there. That's going to be the 6. And now you can solve 3 cells at one time. Starting to add a lot more of the 2s, but we also know we had a decent amount of 6s already in. So I'm just going to finish the 6 there in block 9. And then you kind of look, and you remember, I remember this is a 2, 7. So if I get something down here that'll help me get the 2, 7, then I can go back and finish that block. So what do you have here? 2 cells remaining. Looks like 7 and a 9. The 7 right here. There's your 9, there's your 7. And like I said, now you know that's a 7, that's a 2. And I try to just finish off blocks as much as possible so that we can move on to other solving. All right. What do you got right here? 2, 3, and a 9. Well, with these 2 9s, that's got to be your 9. And with the 3 repeated, there's your 3, there's your 2. And I remember this was a 2, 3. Since the 2 cuts across here, that's a 2, that's a 3. And now with these 3s, that's got to be a 3 right there. You got, looks like 3 and a 4 here. What's right here? It looks like 2 and a 4. The 2 is going to unravel it. So there's a 2, there's a 4, there's a 4, there's a 3. All right. And what you have left is a 2 and an 8. With this 2, just pull it on up. There's your 2, and the last digit is an 8. Okay, and this is a competitive puzzle, so you're doing this for time, but I just want you to show you that you don't have to be a master to solve puzzles in competition. You know a few strategies, you're going to get through these. I mean, the first and second puzzle are no harder than this. The third one requires some strategies, like I'm about to show you in the next puzzle I got for you. But hopefully that was fun. All right, I got a lot of good people in the chat here. SG from USA, awesome. Good morning, Jeffrey. And And SG said, we also saw it in the SudokuCon video. Hey, awesome. Yeah. You're starting to see what I look like. SudokuCon was amazing. I don't know if you guys know, next year, SudokuCon is going to be in England. They want to do it in Manchester, England. I will be there. I'm going to sponsor it. I'm also going to show up, probably do another talk about it. I have a feeling it'll be more YouTube focused, which I can't wait for. All right. Thanks for the help, SG, with the puzzle. France. Thank you, Raul. Welcome from France. And Yoshi. All right. Man, knocked through all those puzzles very quickly. I don't know how you do that. Awesome, though. And good day, Skull and Crossbones, Australia. Okay, we got people from all over. Love it, love it, love it. All right. I can also promise, this is about the community, so some shout-outs. It's time for shout-outs. We could not have the internet's best Sudoku community without you watching and supporting the channel. I first want to thank everyone who bought me coffee, super thanks, or gave me tips on buying me a coffee. I mean, I got everything from $1 to 50 euros. Someone gave me 50 euros last month. Super excited. It inspires me to keep doing this and to put it back into the channel. So I want to thank Peter Wagner, Servio Bethapudi, Stefan Olo, Keith Foote, Patrick Bonnier, Frank Ola, Robert, Chris Holland, Gail Comey, Lafe, Mark Solo, Deb, Celeste Schmidt, Robert Cleveland, Connor Donahue, Dr. Peter Osmore, Samuel Burlinson, Snow 10, Wolfgang Lofink, Shanika Tafaya, Arikan Show, or Eric Show, Mark Peters, and Robert. Thank you all for the Buy Me a Coffee and the tips. Appreciate that. All right, now we're going to move on to puzzle 2. So I found this puzzle in a Sudoku Puzzles book by Brain Tainment. I think they're a part of Kappa Puzzles, but they had a pretty good books called Sudoku Puzzles, Volume 519. In case you're wondering, I go to the dollar store now and then. I buy puzzles, and I like to just solve them, not on the computer, and kind of work on my scanning skills. This one rated expert, 4 stars, but it's most likely medium as far as strategies are concerned. And I'm going to show you step-by-step how to solve it. I'll kind of run through. I have a 5-step process, but if it's not an advanced puzzle, you won't need one of the steps here. So here it is, and it's solving time. And so first step, look through digit restrictions 1 through 9. So we look at the ones. 3 places for a 1 here. Normally I mark when there's 2 possibilities for a 1, and some people have asked that, why I don't mark 3 places. And it's because I want to keep clutter off the board, and I'm so used to if you remove a mark, you can add another mark right there. So I'm not going to mark the ones there or the ones right there, but we do have a nice pointing pair of 1s. So 1's restricted in block 4 to row 4 right there. So then 1s are also in 3 spots here. Nothing else I see with the 1s. How about the 2s? With these 2s, 3 places for a 2 there. 3 places for a 2 there, but no, you can mark 2 places for a 2 there. And so immediately, you can get curious about something like this with 6 digits filled out. You got a 1, 3, 5, 6, 7, 9, so you need a 2, 4, and an 8. We got the 2, 8 there, the 8 there. Not enough to make a solve just yet, but it's worth looking at. 2, 4, 8. Okay. So I'll break that 1 through 9 if I see something, an obvious restriction there to look at. Move on to the 3s. 3 places for a 3 here. 3 places here. 3 places in block 6. A lot of 3 places. All right, how about the 4s? And the goal here is to show you, if you work through this process, you will eventually get all the restrictions and solve the puzzle. And I just want you to have confidence in how the process works. All right, nothing in the 4s. Move on to the 5s. 2 places for a 5 in block 1. 3 places here, not marking, and 3 places there. Okay. How about the 6s? Okay, we got to solve here, right? With these 2 6s and this 6, solve for a 6 in block 2. Look at the impact, row column block. 2 places for a 6 in block 1. And then what else? 3 places here. 3 places in block 4, well, 4 places, and 3 places in block 9. Okay, move on to the 7s. 3 places here for the 7s. A lot of 3 places. Kind of unusual for this puzzle. How about the 8s? We mark these 2 8s. Nothing else we can mark with the 8s. And then the 9s. Okay. 2 places for a 9 here. With these 9s and this 9. 2 places for a 9 in block 4. And that's about it. And so, kind of interesting, we only made 1 solve. I mean, so the second step would be to go back through if you made a solve and see if you can find some more restrictions. And with 1 solve, not much to help with there. And so, I mean, you could look at the 1s again, but I remember it was 3 places over here, here, and down here. 1s, 2s, 3s, 4s, 5s, 6, 7s. So then the third step now is looking for pairs and triples. And the way you're going to do that, step 3, is you want to look at the heavy houses. So any row, column, block that has at least 5 cells filled out. So the obvious one is right here, 2, 4, 8. And then you notice that this can't be a 2. And then down here, you got, looks like 1, 3, 5, 6, 7. You need a 2, 4, 8, 9. And so now you're going to see with this 9, 4, 8 here, you found a nice naked single. And that's the goal. The naked singles are a lot harder to find than the hidden singles with the cross hatching. But you find that, now you can look at the impact row, column, and block. So that's got to be a 4 now. That's an 8. That's going to be a 2. Nice. And now you got 8, 9 right there. So now it's an 8, 9 naked pair. So you made a lot of progress. And so again, go back to the scene of the crime. You look at impact row, column, and block. Now with these 2s, you can put 2s right there. And then what are the other solves you made? Well, this 4, you can displace that 4 and solve this cell now for a 4. And then with these 4s and this 4, 2 places for a 4 in block 4. So you see how that works? And so now you've made a lot of solves. The other thing you added was an 8. So I can kind of look at the 8s and go, okay, with these 2 8s, 8's right there. So I'm kind of exploring each of the digits that were solved here to see what other restrictions have been created. And sure enough, you go back to the 2s and look over this way. Where can a 2 go in block 4? It's got to be right there. And with these 2s, solve for 2s right there. So you're going to kind of repeat this idea of digit restrictions, going back through, and then, you know, pairs and triples. And we'll keep doing the pairs and triples until you get stuck again, and then you can move on to the next step. All right. So with that, you might have noticed now we got a lock triple going on. 2, 4, 5, 7, 8, 9. You need a 1, 3, and a 6. So where are those restricted? These 3 cells right here. And you have a 3 in block column 8 there. So this is a nice naked triple 1, 3, 6. It also means this would be a hidden triple of, looks like 5, 7, 8. So with this 5 and this 8, you know, that's a 7. And this is going to be a nice 5, 8 naked pair or hidden pair, depending on how you found it. You have a couple more of these lock triples here as well. Because that 1, 3, 6, you know, kind of helped you solve these other, or get more information about those other 3 cells. So you got a 1, 3, 4 to finish row 4. And every time you make a bi-value cell with just 2 candidates, you know, you're setting yourself up for pairs, you're setting yourself for a restriction, because you just need to remove 1 more of these candidates, and you will be able to solve these cells. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 8. You need a 6, 7, 9 here. And it could get a little crowded. But now we want to see, by doing that, what else we can do. Okay. We did make a solve here, right? You got the 7 with this 7. Means 7s are restricted right there. So I'm kind of going back here and seeing what else I can do. Because I made these marks and I didn't really see much else mark-wise that I could take advantage of. All right. And so then also want to look at other heavy houses, right? You added a 4 here. So now this has 5 digits. 2, 3, 4, 6, 8. You need a 1, 5, 7, 9. And you might see with the 5, 7, that's a 1, 9. So that's of interest. Or excuse me, I'm sure you guys already said this in the chat, right? 3 and a 6 means that's a 1. Let me see if you guys got that in the chat. Yep, you can solve the 1 in block 6, Jeffrey. Awesome, awesome. Thank you so much for calling that out. Okay. And so now, 5, 7, and the 1, that's got to be the 9. So what do you have left here? Looks like 5 and a 7. So a nice naked pair, 5, 7. Cool. And you made 9 here. You know, you can displace that 9, solve this cell out for a 9. And then what's the impact of that? That's got to be an 8. And so you just keep looking at the impact, row, column, block. We're still just looking for pairs and triples and looking at the impact. And you keep doing that as long as you make progress. Okay. With these 2 8s and this 8 now, 2 places for an 8 right there. No big. And what else we have? Trying to see, oh, you probably noticed with these 2 9s, 9s are now restricted to the same places as the 2s. Nice 2 9 hidden pair. So this is a hidden pair right here. It's also a locked pair, means it's a pair for block 2 and column 4. So you want to explore both of those and see what other restrictions you have. So right here, what this means is you can only have a 5 and a 4 in column 4. With this 5 or that 4, you can solve the other 2 cells. So that's got to be the 5, that's got to be the 4. Nice. And then you'll notice with these 5s carried on, those will be 5s right there. And then with these 4s and this 4, 4s right there. Okay, so just kind of laying some of those marks in. But now you want to go back and see what else there is here. 1, 2, 3, 6, 8, 9. You got a 4, 5, 7. I know right away with these 4s, you're now going to be able to solve this for a 4 and a 5, 7. And there's something interesting here. Hopefully you see. I'll finish these marks because I know I can come back to those 2 cells here. All right. 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 9, 1, 3, 8. I was just seeing if there's anything we can solve right away at the 1, 3, 8. Not really, other than removing an 8 from right there. So why did I highlight these 2 cells? I'm sure you see that. It's a naked pair, but it's a naked pair in row 2, and they're in 2 different blocks. These are harder to spot. By doing the marking of the pairs, you will be able to find these. And so now the impact is that 5, 7 can only be in these 2 cells in row 2 to go to 3, 4. So now you've created additional restriction in row 2. And it's not quite a heavy house. So the question is, how do we take advantage of that? You could mark all these right away and see if there's something there. And I'm kind of curious about column 2 here, because what you might notice is you have the 2, 3, 5, 9 here and the 1, 4 there, and then the 5, 7. There's quite a bit of restriction into this cell. So what could it be? Can't be a 1, 2, 3, 4. Can't be a 5. Can't be a 7 or a 9. So this is just a 6, 8. Okay. Interesting. And then 1s are restricted there. Might be a little too much restriction to kind of focus on right now. So you got the 3, 4, 5, 7. So 1, 2, 6, 8, 9. So 1, 2 means this can't be a 5 anymore. Did you guys notice that? The 5, 7 acts as a pointing pair. That can't be a 5. Like there's something wrong. There's too many marks there. Sure enough, now you can figure that out. That's a 7, that's a 5, that's a 7. Did somebody catch that in the chat? So, okay, yep, from scanning, there's some uniqueness. I just love that SG's calling it uniqueness. Michael Andreas did call out the 5 in block 1. Awesome. Nice catch there. Now restrict the 5s right there. So you made a lot of good solves. So now with this 7, 5 right there, displace that 7. Nice. Okay, and see what else we can do. Well, with these 7s here, go back to the scene of the crime, I call it. That's where you're going to get your solves. And this is Thomas Snyder, world champion. He gave that hint at SudokuCon, and I've been using it ever since. And it's just awesome. You get a lot of good, easy solves that way. 8, 9 across row 1 with the 9 in the column. There's your 8, there's your 9, which means this has to be a 6 now. And the only digit remaining is going to be a 9. Disambiguate the 2, 9 here. And so you see we're getting a lot of solves. We're not going to need to look for advanced strategies in this puzzle. So then you can skip that step 4. And step 5, after hunting for pairs and triples, is hunt down the marks. And you notice as you're solving a lot of the marks, you just transition to that phase. So we're just hunting down the marks, trying to solve those, because those are where the restrictions are. So for example, I know you need a 2, 5 here with this 2. There's your 2 displacing that 5. And then you have a 1 and an 8 here. I don't see a way to solve it just yet, but I will make those marks. But we can now disambiguate because of this 5. That's the 8, that's the 5. That's the 8, that's the 1. Oh, what did I do here? I'm so sorry. That was 3, 6. I remember this was a 1, 3, 6. Probably confused you guys. Okay. And then this would be a 3, 6. No, that didn't look right. And then you got a 1, 3, 6 here. And you got the 1s right there. Okay. So now where do we look? Looks like we need to come across, I'll try row 7. 2, 4, 5, 7, 8, 9. Need another 1, 3, 6. Well, the 1 right there. That's just a 3, 6. And you know this can't be a 6, so the 6s are limited here. Okay. Did we make other mark solves that we can use? Looks like this could be a 3, 6, 8. And what do you got here? 1, 3, 6. And with the 7, get rid of that 7. So you got a 1, 3, 6, 9 with the 6 and a 9 right there. That's a 1, 3. And then you probably notice now with this 1, 3, nice little naked pair, that's got to be 6. That's got to be the 9. All right. You might have saw a hidden single 9 as well. Either way would get you there. Okay. And so now we can do more of the solves with this 6. There's your 7. And there's going to be your 6, displacing that 6. All right, 3, 1, and I just start cleaning up all these marks, right? Hunt down the marks. I try to get rid of the corner marks if I don't need them anymore. 3, 6 here means this has to be the 8. 3, sorry about that. Only place for 1s right there, and that's going to be your 6. 3, 6 there. I think, SG, you saw that uniqueness down there, I'd imagine, where you could have solved that. Nice job. And a 3 right there. 8 right there. There's a 1, there's a 3, there's a 4, there's the 1. Displace this 4. Saw that 4, 4, and the last digit is a 7. Nice job. All right, checking the chat. Timberlake improved my scanning. I appreciate that, SG. Mini X-Wing of 5s. Nice. Type 1 uniqueness, and you got a type 2. Cool, yep. Yep, so I was talking about right here, you had a 1, 3, 6, 3, 6, 3, 6, 3, 6. To prevent uniqueness, this had to be a 1. But I just did it with normal solving. Cool. All right, so that was kind of the basic 4 steps. After pairs and triples, if you keep making progress, you go to hunt the marks. The next puzzle, we're going to need all 5 steps. It's going to be a little bit harder. But let's do our second round of shout-outs. I want to welcome new Smartie Party members. So welcome last month. We had Sally, Michael England, RT, A. Alexis, Frank Ola, Ned Hanks, Greg, Martin, and Larry Scalf all joined the Smartie Party. Thank you so much for your support. Do appreciate that. You're getting my next puzzle pack. It just dropped today. Hopefully you got to check it out. It is themed with Pirates of the Caribbean, and since pirates look for treasure maps and treasure marked by an X, its themed is X-Wings. That's the main strategy. Go check it out. I have a solving video later this week, and you can see one of those puzzles from it. And next, I want to congratulate everyone who solved the August 2025 puzzle pack. Another record amount of people who solved that pack. It featured the puzzles by Clover. If you remember, it was the Tudor Dynasty. Kind of fun. I like using and interweaving history, and some of the people seem to appreciate that as well. So congratulations to Johan Beck, Brian Driver, Johan Kraus, Jen Starr, Greg L. Ed, Ryan Wheeler, Eric, Paul Monet, Martin, Alessandro, Jerry Burr, Randy Reese, Nick Walter, Michael Craddock, Yoshi Broshi. A couple of these people are on this live stream. Awesome. David J. Byler, Carol Emmerich, Aaron Wells, Gray Mike 50, Rick Abs, and Mike Mott all solved the August 2025 puzzle pack. Congratulations. And I'm going to reveal how much we raised for AIM after the third puzzle. Again, that's going to be another record. So excited about the support that you guys give towards AIM. And you can learn more about it on the website. This third puzzle should be hard. It's from Aaron. I actually saw it on another channel, and that's all cool. But I've featured a couple of Aaron's puzzles recently. He's really getting into classics. I love that. Maybe you remember Center Table, Fish Head, I believe. And I'm going to get you to show all 5 steps of the process. So this time, you get to the point where you get stuck, and you will need to look for advanced strategies. So here it is. I don't play basketball by Aaron. If you have an idea what that means or what that references to, please let me know. And with that, it's solving time. All right, step 1. We'll go through digit restrictions 1 through 9. Nothing with the 1s. With the 2s, got 2 places for a 2 right there. And I said immediately curious about all the digits restrictions in block 9, so I will just fill it out. Looks like you need a 1, 2, and a 7. And with the 7 right there, 2 right there. All right, and so now the 7s are restricted to these 2 cells. Okay, and then you could go over here and go 1, 2, 3. And the 3s, since the 3 can't be there because of this 3, you have a pointing pair of 3s here, 3s are restricted there. Or you could have saw it like I did, a claiming pair of 3s. All right, so getting a little ahead, but if you see something, it's worth exploring that, right? Because then the other thing, so he did the 1s, did the 2s, and now we know with the 3s, oh my goodness, I'm so sorry. Why did I put a pointing pair? There's a 3 right there. All right, with the 3s, how about a pointing pair of 3s right there, which restricts the 3s of these 2 cells. And then you might see you have a 2, 3 here and a 1, 3 here. So immediately I'm already quite curious about this little setup. And we'll come back to it. In fact, yeah, you already have an XY wing here based on this little setup. You have 2, actually. Well, yeah, okay, I'll get back to that. That's kind of cool. All right. Anything else with the 3s? Nope. How about the 4s? You got 2 places for a 4 in block 1. 3 places here. You can solve for a 4 in block 8. Okay. 5s, solve for a 5 in block 7. Decent amount of 5s. 2 places for a 5 in block 6. And you can solve with these 5s. Solve for a 5 right there. Mark the 5s in block 3. Nice. Getting a lot of good solves to start with. How about the 6s? Aaron gives you a lot of rewards to start with, like making a lot of progress. It's nice when they have puzzles where you can make a decent amount of progress in the beginning, and it starts, shaping the restrictions that you need later on. Well, with these 6s, we'll be able to solve in block 7, right? Only place for 6 is right there. Displace that 6, solve this cell for 6. And now you can see with these 6s and these 6s, solve for the last 6 right there. Okay, 6s are done. How about 7s? 2 places in block 5. 3 places in block 3. And 3 places in block 4. 2 places there, got that. Okay, and 3 places in block 7. How about the 8s? Block 5. Block 3. Anything else? Yep, pointing pair of 8s in block 7, right? Because this 8 comes down. So this can't be an 8. And so one of these 3 cells has to be an 8. Okay. And then the 9s. You might see you're going to be able to make some solves here. With those 9s, That's a 9, displacing that 3, displacing the 5. So this is the value of those marks. Get those easy, quick solves right away. Finish up the block. You got a 1, 4 here. And you notice the 1, 4 locked pair acts as a pointing pair. It's a naked pair. So now that can't be a 1 anymore. And so the 1s are restricted to these two cells. Okay. And just kind of build upon this. 1, 4, 5, 1, 4, 3, 5, 6, 9. Need a 2, 7, 8. Look over here and go, that's a 2, 8. And this is going to be a 2, 7, 8. But we notice, I put a 2, 8 there, no 5, because of this 5. So you can displace the 5, solve this cell now for a 5. All right. So again, making a lot of good progress. We were on the 9s, right? And so if you want to continue with the method, then you can go here and see this creates a pointing pair of 9s and block 8. And then there's 3 places for a 9 here. Can't do anything with that, but with these 9s and these 9s, you can solve for a 9 and block, well, not solve, mark 9s and block 4. Okay, the other thing that gets me a little curious is knowing that since an 8 can't be here and a 9, I'm kind of like, what can be in this block? Looks like a 1, 2, 8, 9. And so that's just going to be a 1, 2. I just noticed that. All right. So we went 1 through 9. We made a few solves. So go back through. This is the third step. Go back through, see if there's some more easy solves. And I can see right away, this 1, you got a pointing pair of 1s in block 3. Restricts to 1s are right there. So this is part 2 of the 5-step process. And I'm restraining myself from looking for those advanced strategies yet. So I'll show you how to kind of break the puzzle down a bit. All right, nothing else with the 1s. Anything else good with the 2s? 3 places there, 3 places there. Notice the 2s there. Now, how about the 3s? 2 places there for the 3s, 2 places here. 2 places there. Good on the 3s, 4s. All right, 3 places for a 4 there, 2 places there. 2 places for a 4 here. And it's kind of worth marking this as a 4, 7 and a 1, 4, 7 since I'm right there. Kind of blending into the third step, which is pairs and triples. All right. 5s are all done. 6s should be all done. Yep. 7s. 3 places. Aha. What do we notice? 3 places for a 7. Okay, got it. And that's it with the 7s, 8s. 3 places up there, 2 places there, 2 places there. Got that marked, and then the 9s. Okay, so I think we marked what we needed to. So the third step would be look for pairs and triples. So you look for some heavy houses, and you might fill out pairs and triples. And I'm going to do this exercise because I think there might be a couple other easy solves here. Start with column 6, 4, 5, 6, 7, 9. Looks like you need a 1, 2, 3, 8. That'd be a 2, 3, 8. 1, 2, 3. And 1, 2, 8. Okay. 1, 2, 8, 9 down here. I know that's not really much, but I could fill that out. And then do you have another heavy house? We do up here. I think block 1 is our area of interest for this puzzle, and kind of using row 2, I'll fill those out too. So you got a 1, 2, 5, 6, 7, 3, 4, 8, 9 in that block, right? And can we lower the 3, 4, 8, 9 right here? No, but you know you got a 4 and an 8 in column 1, and you got a 4 and a 9 right there. So you're restricting these cells a little bit, okay? And then what's across row 2? You need a 1, 2, 3, and an 8. I got a 3 right there. So that's a 1, 2, 8, and this looks like a 1, 2, 3, 8. All right. You can do this for a 1, 2, 7. since it's right there. Restrict that, make another buy value cell. If you're making BVCs, you should be happy with yourself. And so we kind of go back to what I saw initially, and maybe you saw this too. You got this 1, 2, 3 here, and you got this 1, 2, 3 there. So you want to notice, what does that create for you? Well, there's actually 2 different XY wings that I see at this point. Kind of cool. All right, so let's go to the first one. So you'll notice you have all 3 paired possibilities of the digits 1, 2, and 3. If this is a 1, that'd be a 3. This is a 2, that'd be a 3. They share a row here, share a column there. So no matter what value this is, one of these blue cells has to be a 3. So you can eliminate a 3 from this cell right here, right? Because you put a 3 here, you end up with a 2 there, 1 there, nothing to put in that cell. Hopefully that makes sense. So you can eliminate a 3 from that cell right there. So that's an XY wing. Nice. I like how that was put. But that's not the only one using this pivot. Maybe you saw this one. Same thing, right? All 3 paired possibilities. That's a 1. Now that's a 3. If that's a 2, that's going to be a 3. You can eliminate a 3 from right here. Cool, huh? So now you got those 2 XY wings. So this is you hunting for advanced strategies. This is step 4. One way to do it is look for buy value cell strategies like I just did. The other way is look for single candidate strategies, which I haven't looked for yet. That made some restrictions. I don't see an immediate solve other than knowing now the 3s are restricted right there. There might be something we can do with that. I'm going to look in the chat. If you guys got something really cool to show me, let me know. No 3 in box 8. Yep, you called that. Bent triple in row 7 and column 7. Yep, got that. All right. Row 3, cell 9 can't be a 3. Okay, yep. I think there's a swordfish between column 4 and row 4 and column 6. Okay, 2-string kite on 3s. All right, let's do that. Let's look for, so when you're doing the advanced strategies, you want to look for buy value cells or single candidate. With a single candidate, work through 1 through 9. In this case, I feel like Aaron kind of gave us a hint with the 3s by eliminating those extra 3s. So let's see if there's something else we can do here by highlighting where the 3s can be. So click on the 3s. 3 there. 3 there. 3 there. 3s can be there, there, and here, right? All the places for a 3. Guess you can put a 3 right there too. Okay. You can't put a 3 there because you have this 3 right here. All right. Wow, I really missed on the 3s here. Let's try this again. Sorry about that. Those can be 3s, those can be 3s, those can be 3s. Okay. So now you're looking for conjugate pairs. 2 places, 3 here. So either that's a 3 or that's going to be a 3. That's the advantage of these. That's the power of these advanced strategies. And I think, like someone mentioned in the chat, look for a 2-string kite. So a 2-string kite, you're looking for a conjugate pair. 1 comes out of the column and 1 comes out of the row, right? So 3's got to be there or there. 3's got to be there or there. So we have that situation in block 1 with column. We'll go purple. Let's go purple. Column 2 and row 2. So you know a 3's got to be here or here, right? If it's here, anything that sees as 3, especially this cell, can't be a 3. If it's not here, that's a 3, bumps a 3 out of here, puts a 3 in the other purple cell. Because of the 2-string kite, one of these has to be a 3. And why I focus on that cell is because I know there's a marking there. So you eliminate the 3 from there, you will be able to make a solve. You can be able to solve a 3 in that cell. Awesome. All right, and then look at the impact. I'm starting to do a little cleanup with the colors. You'll notice 3s are now restricted to the same 2 cells as those 9s that I just marked, that have been marked there. So, hey, you got 3, 9 hidden pair. So mark that up. This can't be a 3. Remove that color. And
we got 3s. And then you probably also notice is the 3-9 naked pair here. All right, I have a feeling that's going to get us something to go with here for a little bit. So let's look and see what else the impact is on that. Because this 3-9, 4, 5, 6, 8, you got a 1, 2, 7, 9 down here. And that's not really where I need to go. All right. And you got a 1, 2, 7, 4 here. That's going to give us some help, right? Since these can't be 4s, pointing pair of 4s, that's a 1, that's going to be a 4. Okay, starting to make some progress. Put a 1, 8 right here. Means this would be a 2 or a 7. So you can get rid of the 1 right there. Whoops. You notice now this has to be a 1. And this would be a 2, 7. Naked pair. All right. So you got 2, 4, 7. You notice with the 3, 9, 1, 5, 6, 8, 2, 7, 2, 4, 7 naked triple. Well, 2 and a 7 right there. That's got to be your 4. And now I'll give you a nice 2, 7. And so now you got a nice naked pair, 2, 7 right here. So this is nice. You're getting some rewards as you find the strategy. I do feel like that 2-string kite and the XY wings, really nice how they blended together to give you the single candidate and the buy value sell strategy was the key. I think now you're getting rewarded by finding that. So that's 3, 1, 2. That's the 3, that's the 1 right there. And so you go now, you see, you feel like you've kind of gotten over that center of gravity. You're getting more solves than you are looking for hard stuff. You can move on to part 5 of the My Solving strategy, which is hunt for marks. Now we want to hunt for those marks. Okay, so 2, 7 here, 1, 3, 5, 6 with the 3. That's going to be an 8. Get rid of that 8. Get rid of all these 8s. And you can solve this now for a nice 2, 3, and a 1 right there. Disambiguate the 8 and the 1 right there. And I feel like this is where you get all that reward for all that hard work you've done, right? 4, 7 there. Got the 2 there. That can't be a 7 or a 2. That's got to be your 8. And now with the 2 in the column, that's a 7. That's going to be a 1. Means that has to be the only place for a 1. And you get rid of all those 1s. So you got a 2, 8, 9 there. Can you do better than that? I mean, you can remove the 8 from right there. But as you see, 1 and 7. And right here, 1, 2, 8, 9. This has to be your 7. 2, 8, 9 there. All right. So because that, let's see, that can't be an 8. That's an 8. And this can't be a 2. So that's your 2. That's your 9. That's 4. That's your 3. 4 and 8 already in the block. That's got to be a 9. And just kind of work your way through it. Nice. 7, 4. That's got to be a 2 because of this 8. Hunt for the marks. I love cleaning up the clutter. Gives you a nice 2, 9 right there. All right, where else we at? Well, this 9. 9 and 3 right there. Awesome. Full house, row 3. You can solve that for 7. 2, 7. 7, 2. 2, 9. Come up. I don't see a 9 in block 2. And the last digit is an 8. Nice. Nice job. All right, check out the chat. 2 pivots. Nice job. Yeah, Shermiel, thanks for the call out on the 2-string kite. Really nice find there. Okay, we did great. We're coming up near the end. I did reveal my big announcement, and I'll just flash it up there. Smart Hobbies. Check out the website. Get your Sudoku Masterclass if you want it. I also want to tell you how much we donated to AIM. So here, we'll just kind of focus on the AIM piece here. And hopefully this will work for you. All right. So AIM, Agape International Missions, they help fight human trafficking. I donated a portion of my proceeds every month to AIM. Last month we raised $278 to stop human trafficking. Our yearly total, $1,918. Yeah. That's I can't believe we're donating $2,000 almost to charity just from a YouTube channel. Thank you so much. You can follow volunteer efforts with AIM on my Instagram. I just relayed a reel and a story on there, or you can click on there and it'll take you to the AIM website. You can see how you can help out directly. Again, thank you so much, everyone who joined. Thank you for the great and amazing tips you guys gave. Thanks for being in the chat and keeping this going. I appreciate your feedback, your support. As you can tell, there's so much going on with Smart Hobbies. Over the next couple months, I'm going to transition from Buy Me a Coffee over here to the website. You will still get everything that you got through Buy Me a Coffee. The memberships will get up and running. The puzzle packs will be there. But I'm going to be able to offer classes now. The master class is just a start. I'm working on what I call the 30-day Sudoku challenge, a full, comprehensive master the techniques you need. And with feedback from you, I'm looking to add an additional module which will cover advanced strategies. You'll be able to solve more puzzles than you ever thought possible, all in one place. Stay tuned for more on that. Thank you so much for watching, and thank you so much for your support. Appreciate it.